Being capable of being a bit sordid and being a hero, and seeing no contradiction, is what makes us today enjoy the Byron myth. And David Bowie's pop version of Meaning as a modern art collage still suits us fine too, even though unlike Byron, Bowie failed to die young and fulfill the romantic myth of poets and rock stars. In fact, Bowie changed the myth, so the star just goes on happily re-releasing his old hits, but not re-releasing the old personas that went with them, just being nice old David. Somewhere between young David and old David is where we're going after the break, to meet a pop guy who you simply couldn't tell apart from the silver screen. Welcome back. It's part 2 of a programme about why we're obsessed by celebrity icons, and if that's a sign of the decline of our culture. I'm listening to Beethoven to get in a thoughtful mood. Wow, that's better. Beethoven wrote this piece for someone called Elise. David Bowie once wrote a piece for someone called Andy Warhol, who created that silk-screened electric chair hanging on my wall there, a sign of death. Hello, Andy. Come and play in this programme. But no matter how hard he tries, he can never come and play, dead as he is from a tragic gallstone operation that went wrong in 1987. I know I'm being watched now, as I watch Warhol capturing a bit of time and putting it in a box for the future to stare at. It's one of his opened up time boxes, staring in a blank way or being a voyeur in a slightly disturbing way. We connect both to Warhol. His old copies of Interview magazine, his old bits of rubbish. He allows us to snoop around the side products of his art, but his real art only played with randomness, was actually quite focused. With the passage of time, his paintings and objects have become totems. They stand for an absence of meaning, but meaning still invades.
The white glare of an Andy Warhol show, the master of emotional distance. Warhol is a 1960s figure, artist of celebrity icons and 60s glamour, and the philosophy that in the future, which is now, everybody will be famous for 15 minutes. But what Warhol did in the 1960s was an oddity, and we still experience it as an oddity, even though we more or less inhabit the world of that oddness.
Warhol took the glossy world of celebrity and put his own spin on it. He depersonalised the faces of the famous. They became blanks, onto which anyone could project their own meanings. At the same time, he made himself famous because of them. As they became identified with him, he became more blank. He was weird for an artist because he didn't believe his opinions were more important than anyone else's. His approach to everything was democratic. Put any meaning you like onto me, he seemed to say. He hung out with his druggy friends in the Warhol factory, making them into parodies of the Hollywood star system by making them into Warhol superstars. He yearned to hang out with the real thing, Hollywood celebrities. He wanted it all the blanks. His blank attitude mirrored the blankness we had as we gradually stopped believing in anything. As we believed in less and less, he seemed rather philosophical and full of foresight.
And having jettisoned the things we used to believe in, we now identify with his voyeuristic, value-free fascination, with less and less judgment or moralising about ourselves. He looks at the world as we look at it, without quite knowing how the world is telling us how to act, or what conclusion to come to about it. Hello. Hey.
I'm going up to the top floor now. Not the very top to see the good Lord, but the next best thing, someone very rich. I know I'm being voyeurized again. It's a creepy feeling, common to everyone now, to be stalked by security cameras wherever you go. Like Warhol capturing everything on screens and holding them there for inspection. The screen tests Warhol did for his superstars now seen as part of his art. Look at the camera, he'd say, don't blink. This one is of Jane Holzer, a bored, upper-middle-class housewife who got a craving for art. She went from being a Warhol hanger-oner to being a celebrity model, Girl of the Year, 1964. Do you think that we live in a kind of Warhol world of celebrities and glamorous icons?
Oh yeah.
And being obsessed and having kind of fascination for people who are famous?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Starfuckers.
Yeah. I interviewed Warhol once, a few months before he died, and it was from him that I first heard the words photo opportunity. There's no difference at all between his fascination for the celebrity and the photo opportunity and our modern-day media's fascination for the same things. Except he made art as well, and they don't. He's more about creatively processing celebrity, or kind of looking at it in a certain way. So although he might manufacture superstars and make himself into a celebrity, it's within a context of thoughtfulness and art.
Yeah.
When the media's doing it, it's something else. It's like they're making something to sell in a slightly different way.
Well, he kind of made it up as he went along, you know, like a fairy tale, and made it happen. I mean, when it comes to the media, it's no fairy tale. I mean, it's the real deal. If they call you a ham sandwich and they keep calling you a ham sandwich, by the end of the week, you're a ham sandwich.
But now it seems like celebrity is the only value. It doesn't really matter what someone is a celebrity for. People are obsessed by anyone who's some kind of celebrity.
Well, that was, I mean, listen, look at me. I became like Girl of the Year. What for? I was a model. I hadn't done a damn thing. I mean, what about a scientist that really has done something important? You know, I mean, it's crazy.
In the 70s, Warhol wasn't a radical artist anymore, as he had been in the 60s. He said goodbye, sleazies and junkies, hello, to what I always really wanted to do, which was hang out with glossy celebrities. This was his whole shtick now, top celebrity portraits. Warhol's Maos have a different set of associations to his pop figures. Mao's associations are political, but now he's harmless, like Warhol's cows. Warhol did 2,000 Maos in 1972, following Nixon's visit to China. It was art produced cheaply to be sold expensively in the capitalist art market. Did you commission these off him?
Yes.
And how much were they?
Oh, no, come on.
And did it seem...
You must never ask a lady a question like that.
Well, did it seem like a lot? Or did he give you a discount because he knew you? Or did he let you off?
You must never ask questions like that.
Or did you think you were one of a sort of line of clients, somehow standardized?
You know what? That's how I look at art. If I like it, I buy it. When you read Warhol's books of philosophy and his diaries, they're obviously not poetry, but they are good guidebooks to modern fashion, behaviour and conversation. His bitchiness is our version of the wars and feuds of the gods on Olympus. We know it's out of this world, but at the same time mired in complete bullshit. Thursday, November 14th, 1985. Yoko Ono's boyfriend, Sam, called and said Yoko was having an impromptu dinner for Bob Dylan. And David Bowie was there, and I was disappointed. His suit was too modern. Everybody had champagne, but nobody really drank it. Madonna arrived, and she'd just seen Paul's movie, Mixed Blood, because that friend of hers was in it, Bobby. She said she was so relieved her husband Sean wasn't with her, so she could really have fun. Thursday, January 2nd, 1986. Worked at the office, painted some hamburgers, went home, made myself a potato. Wednesday, December 10th, 1980. The papers still have the Lennon news. The one who killed him was a frustrated artist. They brought up the Dali poster he had on his wall. They always interview the janitors and the old school teachers and things. Thursday, October 2nd, 1986. Jane Holzer walked me home. I watched Letterman and I liked the Lady Admiral he had on. Oh, and Quentin Crisp was at the Whitney. He was young and just great. Is Warhol describing or being in his diaries? Is his distant tone in them creative, like in his paintings, or just tired? His pointless ventings after a long day, signing autographs and canvases. Billy Boy, I hear, is in town, but he hasn't called me or Chris, and I really hate him now. His jewelry breaks. Every ginger boy broke, every one. Then went to meet that kid named Stephen Blussell from the Museum of Modern Art, and went to the closing night of the Lily Tomlin play. Had really good seats. The Campbell soup can was all through it, and the place seemed a lot like the philosophy book. At the end, Jane Wagner came out, and they were crying.
Ah, the drama. On stage in this Broadway theatre in a few moments, with no audience except me, will be Lily Tomlin, delivering a few lines from The Search for Intelligent Life.
Hey, watch the light, you mammalian brain jaywalker. Oh, you turn away, try not to catch my eye. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking I'm just some crazy bag lady. Here I am standing at the corner of Walk, Don't Walk, waiting for these aliens from outer space to show up.
Trudy is a bag lady in this culture. She's really the Earth contactee here for these aliens who have come from outer space looking for signs of intelligent life.
My space chums say they are learning so much about us. They said to me,
She first performed this play 20 years ago, with Warhol in the audience, very pleased to have his soup cans being appropriated by drama.
I show them this can of Campbell's tomato soup. This is soup. And then I show them a picture of Andy Warhol's painting of a can of Campbell's tomato soup. This is art. This is soup, and this is art. Art, soup, soup, art. Now what is this? No, this is soup.
I'm ready whenever you are.
You put everything together, like pop culture and high culture seems to have been got rid of anyway.
Don't make me weary.
Mainstream culture. Why is this? Why are we a cynical materialist?
Well, because materialism is the watermark. It's like you say, they just look at the bottom line, and everybody's so narcissistic and posing, and it used to be hip. Hip used to be like back in the 50s and 60s. Hip had a real connotation of consciousness.
Yeah.
People had some glimmer of consciousness that how much better the species could be, how much better the world could be. Now hip is
now
just
it's a style thing.
It's a style thing, right? It's like everything is style and no substance. The fact that people aspire to nothing but money and celebrity is just unfortunate for our culture. Everyone feels powerless, I guess, and the only thing that makes them feel powerful is to be famous or rich.
That's very true. Thank you very much.
No, you think I'm a fool, don't you?
No.
There. That's perfect.
Wait, this.
Oh,
Libraries are free.
Well, you know
they
what?
don't care about this.
Let's just get some margaritas and just get drunk. I don't see any point in going on.
Drunk on margaritas in New York, I wake up in a hotel in LA with a mysterious invitation to a Hollywood premiere in my top pocket. Great, different stalking music. The peeper, the stalker, the scopophiliac celebrity schmoozer. Celebrity seems to be full of thoughtfulness in this program, with democratic meanings, plenty of modernism and postmodernism, and touches of romanticism. But now, I'm going to meet someone who doesn't care about any of that. He just thinks President Nixon was a nice guy, and so is anyone he's ever photographed. There he is now, Gary Boaz. He's a very amusing amateur photographer who's been popping out and flashing his Polaroid camera at celebrities since the 1960s. Now, suddenly in the 21st century, in his 50s, he's become not only an artist, given an exhibition of his Polaroids in a New York gallery, but an honorary professional paparazzi as well, given a gig to photograph Hollywood for the New York Times. This is the real deal, the ham sandwiches of Hollywood, or more like the little cucumber sandwiches. Hollywood stars really are quite small in real life. Look, it's a Julia Roberts sandwich.